Coming up next at 5.
Right here on WJZ.
Spotty storms around the region. I'm Bob Turk.
And I'm Meg McNamara. First warning weather tracks live Doppler radar and what you can expect coming up.
Is Cosmo DiNardo a serial killer? He already confessed to murdering a Loyola, Maryland student. I'm Mike Helgren with where the investigation is leading police now and how the Loyola community is coming together to pay tribute to Jimmy Patrick.
He was stabbed in the neck and then posted the aftermath on Facebook Live. I'm Rick Ritter, and tonight only WJZ speaks with Tyree Coleon. That story coming up next.
Eyewitness News at 5 starts right now.
This is WJZ TV, Baltimore.
In your community, where you live. Now, it's WJZ, Maryland's news station.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Cartalia.
I'm Mary Bubali. Here's what people are talking about.
We are keeping a very close eye on thunderstorms moving through our area right now. This after flash floods hit parts of Baltimore County at this same time yesterday. Take a look at this video sent into the WJZ newsroom. Heavy rain pouring down and flooding in Ellicott City. And just a short time ago in North Baltimore, heavy downpours as the line of storms rolled through. And taking a live look right now in Owings Mills, the cleanup effort continues after that area was hit hard by flash floods. WJZ is live with first warning weather coverage. Kimberly Eaton is in Owings Mills, where people are still dealing with the aftermath of those floods. But let's get right to Bob Turk and Meg McNamara tracking live Doppler radar and our current conditions. Bob?
Yeah, in some spots this afternoon we saw very heavy downpours, very similar to yesterday, but it didn't last as long, so we didn't see any flash flood warnings in the area. Right now, the storms that we saw a little earlier are weakening around the Baltimore metro, but it's actually a bit stronger around the Washington metro, particularly southeast of D.C. and southeast Washington, PG County, some very strong storms there. West of Potomac, some heavy activity there, but in the Baltimore region, these storms have really weakened just in the last 15 to 20 minutes. We had one pretty good cell downtown. It's also weakening. So most of the region around Baltimore now won't see much of the way more heavy rain now. Looking to the west, still some activity across Virginia, West Virginia, to the north of us, but nothing much showing up on the eastern shore. Just one or two very, very light cells between Cambridge and Salisbury, right on Route 50. Now, we've had these showers today caused by all those heat and humidity. Meg has looked at the warnings that are still in effect and those temperatures out there. Meg?
Well, absolutely. So we do have a flood warning to tell you about. It's just for this east central portion here of Montgomery County until 10:15 tonight. And we know a flood warning like this, different than the flash flooding, which happens very, very quickly. They're thinking more extended over the next few hours. Obviously, with it ending at 10:15, there is the potential for some of that flooding. Now, temperatures here, D.C., you've obviously gotten, yes, a cool down in the form of some of those thunderstorms. Baltimore, same thing for us, 82. Frederick at 91. So you've missed out on the majority of those showers. It is very sticky and humid out there. So if you're headed out this evening, in addition to the pop-up storms, just brace yourself for some very intense humidity. La Plata 100, Rock Hall 100, Annapolis 91. More heat, more humidity, though, both those on the rise as we move through the work week. We'll take a look at those numbers coming up and our first warning forecast in just a bit. Jess, Mary.
All right, Meg, thank you. Our first warning weather coverage continues. Kimberly Eaton is live in Owings Mills with the cleanup effort following yesterday's flash flooding. Kimberly?
And Jessica, a big change from this time yesterday when water was waist high on the street behind and below us here. Now it dried up as quickly as it flooded, but did a whole lot of damage to businesses. Puddles and problems. All that's left after flash flooding soaked this stretch of Reisterstown Road Monday afternoon.
Everything is basically gone now. So it's just trying to pick up the pieces to try to start over.
For auto shop owner Aida Caballero, picking up the pieces means picking a new location for her family business. A bright red sticker marking their water-damaged building no longer safe. So employees work outside, deciding what to save and what to scrap.
Everything that we have worked hard for and all of our savings, put into it. And now it's just like we're at a standstill.
And business owners here say they had no warning. In just a matter of minutes, the water's so powerful it overflowed the banks and came crashing through this fence. Sky Eye Chapter 13 was overhead as people waded through the waist-deep water that submerged cars up to the headlights in areas of Baltimore County. as first responders rushed to help.
Respond for a vehicle stuck in flood water at Cherryville Shopping Center.
WJZ viewers hit record, capturing video of stranded drivers in Reisterstown, heavy hail in Owings Mills, and roadways turned waterways all over. In Montgomery County, heavy rain forced drivers to hit the brakes and reroute.
Everything's blocked off. They got one road blocked, then they got the other road blocked. The water's high.
A rush of water across the state, now leaving only a mud-crusted mess. And so far, no reported injuries from yesterday's storms, but a whole lot of damage that business owners still haven't put a price tag on. Reporting live in Baltimore County, I'm Kimberly in WJZ Eyewitness News.
Kimberly, thank you. And remember to download WJZ's weather app to keep track of our changing weather, get hourly, daily, and extended forecasts, plus severe weather warnings. Search WJZ Weather and get the CBS Baltimore app. Stunning new allegations. The man who police say masterminded the murders of 4 young men reportedly confessed to prosecutors there are other victims. Authorities found 4 bodies last week on a multi-million-dollar piece of property in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, belonging to the family of Cosmo DiNardo. Among the dead, Loyola Maryland student Jimmy Patrick. WJZ investigator Mike Helman's live at Loyola's North Baltimore campus with the expanding investigation. Mike?
Mary, according to sources, DiNardo says he committed those other murders 5 years ago, and police confirmed to us they are looking into his claims, all as the Loyola community prepares to pay tribute to one of their own here tomorrow. Did he kill before? According to sources, Cosmo DiNardo told police he committed 2 other murders before killing 4 young men earlier this month, including Loyola Maryland student Jimmy Patrick. Sources say DiNardo committed the killings 5 years ago in Philadelphia.
Anytime we hear an allegation of that magnitude, we have a responsibility to investigate it.
DiNardo reportedly identified one of those 2 victims by a nickname and said the other was a woman he killed in a basement.
But we'll look at it and see if it has any validity to it.
As the investigation grows in scope, Patrick's family is preparing to say their final goodbyes at his funeral Friday. Patrick's obituary mentions his time in Baltimore. Majoring in business, it says he was attending Loyola on a full scholarship and was awarded academic recognition on the dean's list.
He's a fellow Greyhound, and we want to be with him and his family and hope for the best.
Loyola is planning 2 masses in tribute at the university's Alumni Memorial Chapel as those who knew Patrick grieve.
So young, you know, they were at the prime of their lives, you know, and it's tragic.
According to charging documents, Patrick was the first to die, buried separately from the other victims who were shot and burned in a metal tank DiNardo referred to as a pig roaster, then buried 12 feet below ground. DiNardo, an heir to a real estate fortune, had a history of mental problems.
What do you have to say to these families, Cosmo? Anything to say, even a sympathy, even you're sorry? Why'd you do it?
Last November. Many here are still struggling to understand why this happened.
Any one of these boys could have been my son.
I know at this point I'm turning to God, asking him to give us peace, hope, and consolation.
And the memorial mass for Jimmy Patrick is here at noon tomorrow. Coming up at 6, we'll tell you about a new defense attorney named in this murder investigation. For now, we're live at Loyola. Mike Helgren, WJZ Eyewitness News.
Mike, thank you. And new tonight, the family of victim Mark Sturgis has hired a lawyer who said in a statement he's looking at whether anyone else could be civilly responsible in the case. DiNardo's cousin, Sean Kratz, is charged with helping him carry out 3 of the killings. A Baltimore County high school is on high alert after police say an employee threatened the school. Vic is in the newsroom with the very latest from investigators. Vic?
Well, Jessica, Baltimore County police say the suspect is now in custody. Responding officers found the suspect in his house when they arrived after learning of the threat. Police say the suspect had a medical issue. Baltimore County Public Schools sent out a robocall to parents alerting them the school was placed on alert status after a public school employee made a threat. No one was injured. Police responded to the school to secure the scene. Now back to you.
All right, Vic, thank you. Police are still in communication with the person who called in that threat. A Baltimore man is stabbed and moments later posts the aftermath on Facebook Live. Tonight, the local rapper and anti-violence activist is recovering and speaking only with WJZ. We are live at City Police Headquarters. Rick Ritter has more on the story from the start. Rick?
Well, Mary, Tyree Colion tells me he put those moments on Facebook Live because he wants people to know no matter what happens in the streets, they need to push to stop the violence. And tonight, he knows how lucky he is to be alive.
Oh my God! Blood.
Just seconds after being stabbed in the neck.
Put pressure on it. Put pressure on it.
And taking what he thought might be his last breath. Baltimore rapper Tyree Colion is now recovering, posting this new video on Facebook, trying to eat for the first time. Colion, whose given name is Tyree Moorhead, was stabbed Sunday night in Northeast Baltimore. Police say a domestic-related argument turned to bloodshed.
We believe there's another relative that's responsible for this incident.
The 41-year-old streamed the aftermath on Facebook Live.
Yo, if I die, it's all good.
No, it's not
Keep
good.
pushing them zones.
More than 60,000 people watched the horrifying ordeal.
I need a white towel or something. Put pressure on it.
48 hours later, Colion still can't talk, communicating through a dry erase board, telling WJZ tonight, quote, "It doesn't seem real. They lost me twice on the street. I lost so much blood."
Let me tell you how I feel, like I got a ride with a stick.
Colion spent more than a decade in prison for second-degree murder. Since, he's focused on rap and an anti-violence movement, pushing no-shoot zones across the city.
Please.
As far as a message for his alleged attacker, he tells WJZ, quote, "I forgive him. I want him to help me push the no-shoot zone. He owes me that." And I just spoke with police minutes ago. They tell me they have identified a suspect in this case, and they are now in the process of trying to bring him into custody. Mary?
Rick, thank you. Hundreds of people in Baltimore and across the nation have posted messages on Colion's page wishing him a speedy recovery.
Police identify the suspect known as the American League Bandit following his arrest in Baltimore City. Investigators say Tyrone Gregg was arrested last Friday. He was given the nickname for wearing Orioles and Yankee hats during as many as 12 bank robberies in Maryland and Virginia. Police say that Gregg is being held without bail at the Baltimore County Detention Center. Howard County government officials say no personal information was stolen after a cyber attack on the county's website. The public site was part of a larger nationwide hack on June 25th targeting local government agencies. Investigators identified the group responsible for the cyber hack as Team System DZ. The group took down the county's homepage and replaced it with a message supporting the Islamic State.
Well, Senate Republicans keep facing the same problem as they try to overhaul the nation's health care laws. Seth Lemon reports for WJZ a new measure could also be doomed.
Pen in hand.
President Trump is expressing his disappointment with Republicans on their latest plan to repeal and replace Obamacare.
For 7 years, I've been hearing repeal and replace from Congress, and I've been hearing it loud and strong. And then when we finally get a chance to repeal and replace, they don't take advantage of it.
Opposition from moderate and conservative Republicans sunk the most recent version of a GOP health care overhaul. Now, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell plans to call a vote on a clean repeal, but he doesn't seem to have enough support for that either.
I think that would create great anxiety for individuals who rely on the ACA. I believe it would cause the insurance markets to go into turmoil.
At least 3 GOP senators said they'd vote no on repeal only. Others argue it would push them to get something done.
We've got to put pressure on this body to fix this mess.
Senate Democrats are united in their opposition to the now failed GOP plan and to any repeal-only legislation.
There have to be good faith efforts to build on the Affordable Care Act, not repeal it.
House Republicans, who passed their own repeal and replace bill, are still hopeful the Senate will get something done.
We've got a promise to keep, and also we need to step ahead of the problem that this law is collapsing.
We're not going to own it.
Tuesday, President Trump said let Obamacare fail, and then Democrats would work with Republicans on what happens next. Seth Lemon, WJZ Eyewitness News.
And the vote for a clean repeal could come as early as tomorrow, even though the numbers are not there to pass it. The Republican Senate leadership is looking to get lawmakers on the record.
A show of patriotism. Hundreds of volunteers gather at Arlington National Cemetery ready to work. Monday was the 21st annual Renewal and Remembrance Day at the hallowed ground. Each year, landscaping professionals and their families offer their services for free. Volunteers from more than 35 states lined up as early as 6 a.m. to begin work. 600 volunteers participated this year, a very big jump from the start of the program 21 years ago when 50 people came out.
Wow.
That is so great.
Sacred ground needs to be pristine.
Absolutely.
All right, still ahead on Eyewitness News at 5, 9 people killed by deadly flash flooding in Arizona. How Mother Nature is making it more difficult for rescue crews to find a missing swimmer.
Look who's number 2. A new poll gives Larry Hogan the second highest rating of governors in the country.
You'll soon see this logo on a lot more city corners. I'm Devin Bartolotta with what it means and how it's taking a big bite out of Baltimore City's food desert. Straight ahead.
And the skies are starting to clear after a line of storms rumbled through our area. Don't miss the updated first warning weather forecast with Bob and Meg.
Eyewitness News continues with Mary Bubala, Jessica Cartalia, First Warning Weather with Bob Dirk, Meg McNamara, and Sports with Mark Viviano, covering the stories that affect you. It's WJZ, Maryland's news station.
Scattered showers, thunderstorms, some sunshine out there as well. 82 degrees in central Maryland right now. The complete first morning weather forecast is coming up. Well, digging into Baltimore's food deserts, a new grant is making it easier for city corner stores to carry healthy food. WJZ is live. Devin Bartolotta with more on a big expansion. Devin?
Mary, for thousands of Baltimore residents, making healthy choices is a luxury, and this program could change that. Fresh fruits and veggies are on their way to a corner near you. The health department announcing a $150,000 state grant to expand the Baltimarket program.
Baltimarket offers an innovative and effective way to increase access to fresh and healthy foods.
The new funds will provide credits, advertising, and training to 40 more corner stores throughout the city to carry fresh fruits and vegetables, bridging the gap for 1 in 4 Baltimoreans who live without easy access to healthy food.
How can our patients eat well when they live in areas of food deserts where they have to go and take 2 buses or walk 25 blocks in order to get healthy fruits and vegetables?
The inventory goes hand in hand with education, teaching customers that they can sub out unhealthy foods in their diet for things like this. Those lessons come from hired youth ambassadors like high school senior Ava Wise.
Some people were really surprised. They were like, wow, oh my gosh, and they were like, I need to change, I need to change.
Lifestyle changes now available at 17 healthy corner stores citywide, and within the next 2 years, dozens more.
When these guys who are low privileged have to use public transportation to go get things for their daily needs, why not offer them the same thing when they come into my store anyways?
This grant will also help pay to hire 40 student educational nutritionists, and they will help teach residents about healthy eating. Back to you.
Great program, Devin. Thank you. Baltimarket is taking recommendations from the community on which stores should be part of the program expansion.
Well, if you're waiting for someone to get home from work, let's check in on the roads right now with Christy Breslin live at WJZ Traffic Control. Hi, Christy.
Hi, Jess. Hi, everyone. Well, things are still very busy out there. A lot of accidents, delays. Starting with the accident 70 westbound between 32 and Hoods Mill Roads, all lanes blocked. We still have the crash Washington Boulevard at the Beltway, blocking the right lane and the right shoulder. East Ordnance at Chesapeake Center Drive, followed by a crash in Baltimore City, Orleans Street at North Broadway, Liberty Road at Greens Lane, and still problems on northbound 95 at Key Highway. The right lane is blocked, and that's creating a delay back to Caton Avenue. Now, as far as delays go, still jam-packed on the west side inner loop. That's going to start at 95, stretch all the way over to 795. The outer loop seeing delays too from Reisterstown Road to 70. If you're traveling along the top side inner loop, brake lights there from Charles Street to Perring Parkway. And as you can see, no problems southbound, but in the northbound direction, a pretty long stretch of delays there that begins at Timonium Road and is going to stretch over to Belfast. As you can see, it looks up there at Schwann Road. Average speed only about 15 miles per hour. This traffic report is sponsored by Experian. Protect your identity free for 30 days at Experian.com/protect. Back over to you.
Christy, thank you.
All right, if you got rain, you're probably in the 70s. If you didn't get rain, you're probably in the upper 80s. So
Wow.
It's going to make a big difference in the temperatures. The airport last report had 82, and they just jumped back up to 88. East winds there, and the barometer is kind of unsteady. But take a look at that radar and where the showers are right now, right after this. Nice and sunshiny right here in the city.
Live look outside.
Beautiful now, but this
Got
weather's
some
been a little
sunshine now.
nutty.
Had some
Yeah.
tropical downpours. Some neighborhoods really, really heavy rain. We didn't see any flash flood warnings, although there was a lot of rain in some areas, just not quite enough for flash flooding. Although I did see 3 or 4 inches of rain on some roadways late this afternoon around 2, 3 o'clock. North of the city off of 83, there's some serious rain up that way. We had some serious rain west of the city as well. Right now, around the Baltimore region, much lighter activity. In fact, really no big thunderstorm activity. We had some just a little while ago. It's just dissipated. The heaviest activity now around the D.C. region, as you can see, a lot of stuff down southeast of Washington, northeast D.C., PG County. That could survive a little bit longer, but it's probably going to just collapse as we head into the evening hours. A little bit more here just west of Reston, and Northern Virginia is still seeing some pretty good stuff. Eastern Shore, hardly anything going on there. One little tiny cell here north of Chestertown. But around the Baltimore region, as I mentioned, the sun's come out here. Temperatures are rebounding quickly. 88, 89 Westminster, 91 in Frederick. D.C. with the rain down to 77, 90 Easton, 81 Ocean City, 87 up in Bel Air. And we still have a flood warning for a little piece of Montgomery County, like right through there. They had some heavy rain yesterday, 3, 4 inches of rain, because any additional rain today, this is not a flash warning, this is just a flood warning, which means some of those streams there are still flooding over their banks in that region. So be careful if you're heading down through portions of northeast Montgomery County. That's south of the Howard County line there in Montgomery County. Bob Gillette checked in with clouds and some sunshine. He had some rain earlier. He's at 82 degrees right now. To the west of us, some severe thunderstorm activity across portions of Minnesota this afternoon. Not going to bother us for the time being. High pressure in control means generally clear skies. However, we have a weakness. A cold air aloft is causing these showers to pop up in the afternoon. Tomorrow we have a chance, not as much of a chance as we saw today, and a lesser chance on Thursday. At least that's what we're thinking. But today, we didn't expect to see these very strong activity, but we did still see some activity. Now, tomorrow afternoon, still showing some possible thunderstorm activity. Thursday, probably not much of a chance over much of the region, and it's going to get pretty hot, too. Temperatures back up in the mid, perhaps even some upper 90s in some spots as we head into the end of the week, into the weekend. So a string of very hot days headed our way, definitely as we head into the middle of July here. Tropical storm Don has weakened. Winds are on 40, heading out generally to the west. It's going to get pretty close, it looks like, by tomorrow afternoon, with weakening conditions north of Venezuela and Colombia. Pretty amazing stuff, way far south, and all the tracks have it way down in the Caribbean. Might even still approach portions of Central America eventually in a couple of days. Tonight then, any rain, any otherwise a warm and sticky night with a low of 71 tomorrow. Mostly sunny, then some clouds running anytime after 1 or 2 o'clock. We'd see a spotty thunderstorm in the region in some locations. Tomorrow's high, hotter than today, back up to 93. Whew. We feel probably like 100 degrees tomorrow. So uncomfortable weather the next several days.
Okay. Thanks, Bob. Still ahead on WJZ's Eyewitness News at 5.
I'm Alex Dimitrik, and coming up, the White House opens the door to more foreign temporary workers, and it couldn't come soon enough for Maryland's seafood industry. That story as Eyewitness News continues.
The family of an Australian yoga instructor shot by a Minneapolis police officer is demanding answers after her death. I'm Adriana Diaz in Minneapolis, where authorities are investigating why the officer's body cameras were off.
Baltimore Raven John Urschel shares his math and science expertise with students. I'm Amy Yensi, how he's making physics class fun, next on WJZ.
And here's today's report from Wall Street. We'll be right back.
This is WJZ TV, Baltimore.
In your community, where you live. Now, it's WJZ, Maryland's news station.
It's 5:30, 88 degrees with scattered showers and thunderstorms in parts of central Maryland right now. Hello, and thanks for staying with Eyewitness News. I'm Jessica Cartalia.
I'm Mary Bubala. Here's what people are talking about.
Maryland Governor Larry Hogan has the second highest approval rating for a governor in the country. That's according to a new national poll. WJZ is live. Political reporter Pat Warren has more on the governor's standing. Pat?
That's right, Jess. According to the poll, Larry Hogan's supermajority rating in Maryland is second only to the governor of Massachusetts. Republican Larry Hogan rides a tide of high approval ratings despite the 2-to-1 Democratic majority in the state.
And while we're certainly not going to agree on everything, I think we can agree to disagree without being disagreeable.
According to Morning Consult, which specializes in market research and public opinion, Larry Hogan is the second most popular governor in the country, 3 points behind Massachusetts' Charlie Baker, another Republican in a deep blue state. 68% of registered voters polled in Maryland approve of Hogan's performance as governor, while 16% disapprove. 13% don't know or have no opinion.
I think together, over the past 2 years, we've made tremendous progress in Maryland.
Asked about the poll, a spokesperson tells WJZ what is most important to the governor is continuing the administration's work to change Maryland for the better. Hogan faces re-election next year, and there are at present 8 Democrats declared or considering a run against him.
A little surprising, in fact, these people started to declare so early.
What about 2018? Hogan had a 65% approval rating in the March Washington Post University of Maryland poll. When asked if they would vote for him in 2018, 41% of registered voters said yes, 37% said they would vote for the Democrat, 20% were undecided.
That suggests that he may be in trouble in 2018.
For his part, Hogan's spokesperson says the governor will remain focused on making Maryland an even better place to live, work, and raise a family. And poll analysts are saying that Larry Hogan staying away from some Trump issues has probably improved his rating. I'm Pat Warren reporting live. Now back to you.
Pat, thank you. The Morning Consult poll surveyed more than 3,800 Marylanders between April 1st and July 10th.
Doctors in the nation's capital may now begin the process of prescribing life-ending drugs to terminally ill patients. Denise is in the newsroom with more on the controversial law coming into effect. Denise?
Well, Mary, rules and regulations to implement the Right to Die law took effect yesterday in Washington, D.C. Now, if approved, the bill states patients older than 18 with less than 6 months to live are eligible. 2 witnesses are required to attest the patient is making the decision voluntarily. Now, the District of Columbia joins 6 other states in now allowing the practice. The move sets up a showdown with Republicans in Congress who are trying to void the law. Mary?
Denise, thank you. Last week, a U.S. House panel voted to advance a measure that would repeal the Deal with Dignity Act. The bill must be approved by the full House, Senate, and the President before it can take effect.
To help seasonal American businesses, the Trump administration is allowing more foreign workers into the U.S. Alex Dimitrick reports that's welcome news to Maryland's seafood industry.
It's the height of Maryland's crab season, and at J.M. Clayton Seafood in Cambridge, crab picking is at full throttle. Those doing the work are from Mexico, here on temporary work visas called H-2Bs, because the company can't find local Americans to pick crabs. Not with other opportunities available.
They can learn trades, community colleges, they want to better themselves, get a 12-month job. And these seasonal seafood jobs, we just can't offer that.
When 86-year-old Cornelius Johnson started picking crabs, it was local families that did the work. Not anymore.
No, they don't do it anymore. They I guess they move on to better things.
The demand for seasonal labor has prompted the Trump administration to free up 15,000 more H-2B visas. These workers were part of the 66,000 issued earlier in the year. Now that more are coming,
hopefully some of our colleagues in the seafood industry will be able to take advantage of that. We have had a lot of them been locked out of the program.
these workers not only keep this business working, they also keep a lot of Americans working. Watermen need the picking houses to sell to, who in turn support boat builders and fishing equipment. Work is also generated for shipping and retail.
2.54 American jobs are created by each and every H-2B worker coming to work in the seafood industry in Maryland.
Meaning 100 of these workers keep 250 Americans at work. Alex Dimitri, WJZ Eyewitness News.
Demand for seasonal H-2B workers is intense from not only seafood, but agriculture and the hospitality industry as well.
Well, the search continues for an Arizona man who went missing in a deadly flash flood. 27-year-old Hector Garcia was one of more than a dozen people swept away over the weekend. 9 members of his extended family died in that rushing water. To make matters more complicated, a flash flood watch has been issued for much of northern Arizona through tomorrow night. About 75 searchers are still looking for Garcia at this hour. The search was cut short yesterday due to weather conditions.
The family of an Australian yoga instructor shot and killed by police in Minneapolis want answers. Justine Damon was killed Saturday night after she called 911 to report hearing a noise that she thought could be a sexual assault. Adriana Diaz reports.
The death of Justine is a loss to everyone who knew her. She touched so many people.
Justine DeMond's fiance said piecing together the 40-year-old's final minutes will help bring comfort to those who loved her.
We've lost the dearest of people, and we're desperate for information.
Back home in Australia, DeMond's father said this is a nightmare for their family.
Justine was a beacon to all of us. We only ask that the light of justice shine down on the circumstances of her death.
Minneapolis police officer Mohammed Noor was one of 2 officers who responded to DeMond's 911 call Saturday night. Investigators haven't disclosed details about what happened after police arrived. Multiple eyewitnesses say DeMond approached the police cruiser in her pajamas. According to a law enforcement source, DeMond was standing at the driver's window when Officer Noor opened fire from the passenger seat. The bullet passed in front of his partner and went through the open window, fatally striking DeMond. According to the city, Noor joined the police department in 2015 as its first Somali American officer. In a statement, Noor's attorney says his client extends his condolences to the family and anyone else who's been touched by this event. DeMond relocated to Minneapolis from Sydney, Australia about 3 years ago. Both officers were wearing body cameras during Saturday's shooting, but they were off, despite a recent policy requiring the cameras to be on when responding to 911 calls. After the incident, neighbors told us that police went door to door to see if anyone's surveillance camera captured the deadly encounter. Adriana Diaz, CBS News, Minneapolis.
The 2 officers have been placed on administrative leave. Justine and Don Damon were planning to get married next month.
A 17-year-old is arrested after a violent road rage confrontation in Anne Arundel County. James Aaron Solomon is charged with assault and reckless endangerment. Police say they responded to a parking lot yesterday in the 500 block of Ritchie Highway in Severna Park. After a road rage incident, police say Solomon pulled out a knife and cut the other person involved in the arm. The victim was treated for minor injuries. Well, time now for a quick look at some stories you'll find in tomorrow morning's edition of the Baltimore Sun. Community efforts urge a murder-free weekend in Baltimore. Governor Larry Hogan on the Republican health care bill. And the Peabody Conservatory is set to launch a dance degree program. For all these stories and a whole lot more, read tomorrow's Baltimore Sun. Remember to look for the updated forecast from WJZ's First Warning Weather team.
Making an impact off of the football field, Baltimore Raven John Urschel shares his love of math and science with students in Baltimore County. Amy Yancey was in the classroom for a very special and tasty physics lesson.
So what we have here
is we have a nice little graph.
Baltimore Raven John Urschel has a passion for football and math. He's here at Dundalk High School sharing his love for numbers and science with the students.
Now we decrease the temperature even more.
Urschel is teaching them about physics and the sweet role it plays in making ice cream.
We picked ice cream just naturally because, well, ice cream's delicious. I mean, who doesn't like ice cream?
The Raven and PhD math scholar joined forces with Texas Instruments for his visit to the Summer Math Academy. He's promoting careers in science, technology, engineering, and math, better known as STEM. Urschel is hoping his school visit will get more students interested in these important subjects. What did you learn today?
That math is tasty. I didn't think that ice cream had to go through like so much of a process just to be edible. And yeah, it was really fun to be here, and I'm glad that I had the experience.
When he's done with football, Urschel plans to have a career as a math professor.
I enjoy math. I enjoy talking to young people and trying to have an impact on young people mathematically. This is something I'm very passionate about.
This is how he rates his teaching so far.
I give myself a B+. B+.
Amy Yancey, WJZ Eyewitness News.
John Urschel earned his doctoral degree in math at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I give him an A+. Good for him. He could be doing a million other things today, and he spent time with those kids.
Yes, absolutely. I thought you were going with, and he got his undergraduate degree
at
Penn State. I figured that would come
He's just a good person all around.
He's fantastic. We love John. All right, still to come tonight on WJZ's Eyewitness News. Flood waters shut down transportation for thousands in Turkey. The heavy rainfall making life miserable for commuters there.
Police release a sketch of the man suspected of killing 2 teenage girls in Indiana. How one of the teens helped police piece together this image.
I'm Bob Turk, First Weather Center. Heat is on the way. Of the exclusive responding 5-day forecast. We'll be right back. All right, clearing up around the Baltimore region after some areas saw some heavy downpours again today. Might see a few more tomorrow. They'd be more isolated, we think. Meg has a look at that forecast. Meg?
Well, absolutely, Bob. I'm Meg McNamara, and we are live with the WJZ Mobile Weather Lab, and we're here at beautiful Rawlings Conservatory. And yes, these plants just got some nice rain showers, so good for them. Not seeing lots of folks out, but you know, as more people are realizing that these storms are moving on, we're expecting the usual walkers and bikers around town. Let's get you set for Wednesday. So as we take a look at the day planner, temperatures will wake up in the low 70s. Now, I think by the time you head out the door to work, though, we'll be into the mid to upper 70s there. And then in the afternoon, we're headed for 93. So if you are going to be out and about on your lunch break, it will be 90, but feeling at least 5 degrees warmer than that. So we are really looking at a hot and humid, potentially stormy day. We do have a slim chance just for a few stray thunderstorms in the afternoon, but of course something we just want you to be aware of. Even warmer temperatures beyond that. Bob Turk is going to show us the numbers in our 5-day forecast. Bob?
We're going to have heat indexes the next 7 days in the mid-upper 90s to some low 100s, 96 by Thursday. Yes, a thunderstorm possible. Probably not activity, at least not too much on Thursday or Friday. Once again, in the mid-90s Saturday, and a chance of a shower thunderstorm again by the time we get to Sunday, but still hot and humid, 93 degrees. So we've got 5 days of 90-plus temperatures. Mary?
Thank you. Heavy rainfall leads to flooding in Turkey, paralyzing daily life for thousands of commuters. This was the scene today at metro stations across Istanbul. Oncoming floodwaters bringing transportation to a halt. The city's disaster coordination center is warning of flood risks across the city. People are also urged not to use their own vehicles during that severe weather. Well, nearly 40,000 people are forced from their homes by fast-moving wildfires in Canada. Neighbors in British Columbia are flooding into crowded evacuation centers amid a state of emergency. More than 160 wildfires are burning tonight across the province. Military aircraft are aiding firefighters on the ground. Officials are shocked by the growing number of fires.
We've never had a season where we've had this many fires this close to as many communities as is currently the case.
Officials expect the fires to worsen. The entire city of Williams Lake was ordered to evacuate over the weekend, totaling more than 10,000 people.
Police release a sketch of a man suspected of killing 2 teenage hikers in Indiana back in February. Their bodies were discovered the day after they vanished. Dawn Dollar reports for WJZ on why this case is baffling investigators.
We're going to get you now. We have a face to go with you.
Liberty German's grandparents think police are one step closer to catching the 14-year-old's killer.
We want to get this guy off the streets. You know what I mean? Don't want anybody to go through what we've been going through.
Investigators released this composite sketch Monday.
It shows a little more facial features, gives you a little more information on what we're looking at, who the suspect might be.
It's the face of the man in this blurry image. German shot it on her cell phone as the alleged murderer pursued her and 13-year-old Abigail Williams.
If we can get a name or at least a location of this subject, that would be great.
The sketch is based in part on a witness who claims to have seen the man around the time the girls disappeared on this railway trail February 13th. Fear of the suspect apparently kept the witness from coming forward sooner.
The person was not clear on the color of the eyes, but the person said it was definitely not blue.
Police also know what their suspect sounds like. This previously released audio snippet was also recorded by German.
The likelihood of solving the case is still very high.
Former FBI Assistant Director Ron Hosko says it's unclear how reliable the new sketch is, but at least it forces the public to pay attention again.
It is just making that connection. It is having somebody's synapses touch and say, I know who this is.
Police caution the hat that suspect is wearing in the sketch may not be accurate and are asking the public to instead focus on the suspect's facial features. Former U.S. House Speaker Dennis Hastert has left a federal prison in Minnesota. He's been relocated to Chicago to complete his sentence for covering up a child sex abuse scandal. The 75-year-old was sentenced to 15 months in prison last year. Officials say he's been moved to a residential re-entry management field office, likely meaning that he will soon be moved to a halfway house or home confinement for the remainder of his sentence. Check in with Eyewitness News at 6 for the latest on today's developing stories. Vic is standing by live with a preview. Vic?
Jessica, chilling crimes. A Pennsylvania man charged with killing 4 people, including a Loyola University student. But is he responsible for even more killings? Tragic death. A 9-year-old girl killed in a crash near her Baltimore school, who her family is now suing. Check in for more on these stories, all the day's breaking news, coming up on New at 6. Now back to you.
Vic, thank you.
Still to come tonight on WJZ's Eyewitness News, Sports Director Mark Viviano live from Oriole Park at Camden Yards with a preview of tonight's game against the Texas Rangers.
Hi, Mark.
How you doing, ladies? Yeah, the Orioles trying to win a game here tonight, and they're also trying to build for their future, which means they could be trading away some players. It's the business of baseball. I'll talk to the O's Zach Britton about that when Eyewitness News continues.
Well, the Orioles broke their losing streak last night, and they try to make it 2 wins in a row at Camden Yards tonight. Sports Director Mark Viviano joins us live from the ballpark with the very latest. Hi, Mark.
How you doing, Jess? Yeah, the Orioles take on the Texas Rangers here tonight. 70 games left to go in the season for the O's, and that sounds like a lot. But time is actually running out on this team as they try to dig out from a hole that has them currently tied for last place. It is a predicament that has them as a candidate to start trading away some players. It is a possibility. And Zach Britton is probably at the top of the list for a couple of reasons. First of all, he's highly coveted by contending teams, and a relief pitcher of his ability could help win a World Series. Also, Britton is set to become a free agent after next season, so he's likely to leave anyway. So the O's could get a return for him in a trade now. He's made his way back from left arm soreness this season. He's ready for the final 2.5 months of the season. I asked Britton about the trade rumors that now include his name.
You want to stay here and win with these guys, but you understand, the organization has things they need to look at long term, and some of our contracts are up, within the next year or even this year. So those are conversations that they're probably having. It's not something that we talk about, or you can't really think about it because we have no control over that as the player. You go out there and you want to perform well.
Now, in general, Orioles relievers have performed well, and that includes Brad Brock, who's also considered a possible trade candidate. He pitched the 9th inning, recorded the save in the win over Texas here last night. Dylan Bundy is the O's starter in Game 2 of this 4-game series. We'll have more on the matchup coming up next hour. Plus, we'll talk some football as Towson University and Morgan State build up to the battle for Baltimore. Never too early to talk football, right? We'll do that coming up in Sports at 6. Back to you for now.
Keeps us cooler, right?
We had John Urschel on. We may as well just keep it going.
Keep it going. All right, still to come tonight on WJZ's Eyewitness News. More summer storms rolling through Maryland, bringing heavy rain and minor flooding.
First Warning Weather is tracking them next at 6.